Hi, I'm Pat Fry. I'm Chief Technical Officer at the BWT Alpine F1 Team. Effectively, all the technical decisions made at Enstone are my responsibility. That's setting the spec of the current car, the targets for the current car, as well as looking at the organisation as a whole and what we actually need long term to improve technically for future years. The regulation changes for 2022 are, the biggest set of rule changes we've seen in at least the last 10 years, if not longer. There's a large change to the regulations, mainly aerodynamically, to try and limit what we can do, to try and make cars be able to run closer together and make overtaking easier. It's not just the shape of the cars that change, but the technicality in the rules is massively complicated now. So everyone's trying to look at the wording of the rules to try and work out what we can actually get away with. The main changes on this year's car, it's moved from being a sort of normal car, as we would say, for the last 10 years, into more of a ground effect car. So the floor is going to be working a lot closer to the ground. We've got to concentrate on how stable those flow structures are, and that's going to be one of the key understandings that we need to learn and understand. We've also got a completely new power unit for this year. Viry have been working very hard trying to produce the best thing we can, because it all gets locked away now. There's a homologation period for the next 3 years. So there's been a huge effort to try and get that ready for this year. There's also been some great collaboration between Enstone and Viry to try and get the maximum out of the car potential, as well as just improving engine performance. The other change for this year is swapping from 13-inch to 18-inch tyres, which again, we've been doing lots of development on those through the year, as all the teams have. But again, that's something that we need to learn about in the early tests and early races. The challenge is in maximising the performance with the new set of rules that we have. I mean, obviously the main focus is aerodynamics and how we actually understand and get the car working. But also, part of my job is making the team better for the future. So it's not just investing in now and understanding what the car is, but we also need to be looking at how we improve the team. A team is built on three things. You've got, it's obviously the people, the tools that we have, and the methodologies that we use to design and develop a car. So all those bits need to come together. That it's a constant battle that we're fighting just to try and produce the best car. You have to have an open mind. So the rules have been written with a certain aerodynamic concept in mind, but we actually have to look at what is the actual wording of the rules and what we can actually get away with. There's a huge amount of understanding we need to build, because the cars are going to be running a lot closer to the ground. All the flow structures are going to be a lot more unstable at certain points. We've got to build our understanding on that. We've been working closely with Viry, developing a completely new power unit. And again, that's all about trying to optimise the total car performance, as well as either just the chassis or the power unit. So again, there's been some great collaboration there. Coming with this new set of rules as well is a large step on safety, which is fantastic. The loads have increased massively on the chassis, and that means we're spending lots of extra weight. Weight is going to be a challenge for everyone. We're right near the weight limit, so you're looking to try and save every little ounce that you can all over the car. The other set of rules that we have to deal with is the financial regulations. There's now a cost cap, and we need to be careful how we design and develop a car. We've got to get value for money. Every little bit of performance has to earn its place. Through the first two tests and the earlier races, there's going to be a massive step in learning. We've obviously had our own ideas of what this set of rules means. We're going to see 9 other options of what that is. We'll try and pick the best pieces out of everything. So, we're learning all the time in our own wind tunnel. We get the luxury of looking at the results of 9 other wind tunnels, so we can actually understand and just make a better car. So there's going to be a huge increase in performance. And as well, the cars you'll see at the first test, we've already got a load of upgrades coming through for the second test and the first race. So again, this development battle is underway, but it will really step up once we start analysing closely what all the other cars' solutions are. I think when you see all the cars roll out the door at the first test, there's going to be some, reasonably different shapes to start with. And I guess over time, over a number of years maybe, they'll end up looking a lot similar. But at the moment, there's quite a lot of different solutions. I mean, we've ourselves have had, you do some developments, you reach a fork in the road and you go down one fork. Other people would reach that point and would have gone the other way. So it'll be really interesting to see how the solutions that we've tried and passed over, to see how people have developed that type of concept. I think when we see all the other solutions that are out there, it is an exciting time. We've obviously done what we think is the best and what we can do within the resource we've got. But it's just massively interesting seeing how different groups of engineers try and solve the same problem. There'll be things that we've got right, there'll be things we've got wrong and need to improve. But that's the fun of it, really. And that's what makes the early tests and these early races so exciting.
Second year with Alpine, and I'm more optimistic than last year probably, because the new rules gives you that hope that everything can change, and you certainly been competitive, from race one. So I'm optimistic, confident. I think the team did a good job with the car, and we're ready to go. I'm very excited about the new regs. Obviously, from time to time, Formula One change the regulations and try to mix a little bit the performance from everybody. And for Alpine or some of the midfield teams that we were last year, there is an opportunity for sure if we do a good job and interpreting the rules and maximizing every opportunity this year is going to be important. So everyone in the team feels that we can do it, and we are ready to go. I think about the new regulations, probably the best thing or the hope is that we can follow each other closer on track. So maybe that provides more action, more overtaking opportunities, close fights, and that's probably better for everybody, for the show, for the spectators, but also for us drivers. The new car, I really like, the livery. I like the colors, the combination. Obviously, the technical side of it, we have to keep it secret, and we have to first hit the track and see how it behaves. I think it's going to be a very intense winter for us, where we need to develop the car as fast as we can and learn from the new regulations. But we have some interesting solutions on the car, and let's see if we can unlock the performance as soon as possible. The relationship with Esteban has been better and better, from race one last year, I think, until now race one this year. Over 2021, I think we had good fun together. We worked together, and we understood that is the best thing for the team and for the performance of ourselves as well. And during the winter, it was a long period that we didn't see each other. So we were texting sometimes, and we have a WhatsApp group with Laurent as well. And we were having fun and obviously missing each other a little bit. So now it's time to race again together and help the team to move forward.
So how exciting is it to enter a new era of Formula One? Very exciting. I have to say, I think it is the best time to be in Formula One. Big changes for the sport with those new regulations. There's a big hopes from drivers and teams and fans as well to come in. Hopefully we are going to be able to follow closer, to race harder, and hopefully for us to entertain more of the fans. So how excited I am to drive the A522 on track. Very much looking forward to it for sure. I mean, it's always a privilege anyway to jump in a new car. Such a talented group of people I've worked on in Viry and Enstone, thousands of people. So it's just great to have the chance to drive that car that everybody has put hours of work in for the first time, and that's coming very soon. After winning the race, how confident I am going into the season. I mean, we feel prepared after the year last year. We feel that we've progressed during the season, and we want to keep that going. of course, with my group of engineers, with my mechanics and everybody, we want to keep progressing step by step, and hopefully we can keep that going like last year. The mental and physical preparation, how has that been going? It has been going well, I have to say. It was shorter than the previous years, but I've managed to change a bit the process of how I was training, get all the important things that I've learned from the previous years straight away from day one of training. So I feel that I'm in a very good position at the moment, and I definitely will be ready for when I drive the car.
Well, it was certainly a challenging season. It was a season of learning for me first, because it was my first year in Formula One. For the team as well, because there were a lot of things we needed to improve operationally on the track, around the drivers. And I guess we learned a lot. We put that together, and we ended up scoring 20 races out of 22, which showed that we really made progress throughout the year, and that's gave us the fifth position in the championship. We also learned to win, which is quite important, and the team knows that they have that in themselves. So definitely an exciting year, but only the beginning. Yeah, it's going to be quite an exciting year, because the technical regulation are going to reshuffle all the cards. Everyone stands a chance. And the financial regulations are also going to make sure that everyone plays with the same chances. So really, it's an exciting year, and I'm looking forward to seeing if what we put together last year, in addition to the new organization, will deliver along the very ambitious project that we have to get back on the podiums and to win within 100 races. Well, Otmar is going to join us as a team principal. He's going to bring his technical expertise, for sure. He's an engineer by trade, but he's also going to bring his unique leadership. He's been very successful in the past with Racing Point and other teams, getting a fourth position with one of the lowest budget in the paddock. So certainly he's going to bring us very valuable expertise. He's also a team builder, and that's quite important, because the team really needs to gel around the team principle and to aim for the same goal. And I think it's something that's critical in every winning outfit, any sports, whether it's Formula One or anything else. Beyond that, we also have Bruno Famin joining us in Viry. And it's going to be an incredible addition to the team. Bruno Famin has a very wide experience in motorsports, as well as a great knowledge of working with engineers and others than that in the motorsports activities, thanks to his role in FIA. So those two are going to be leading the charge, along with Pat Fry and Matt Harman, our newly appointed CTO and technical director, which are considerably strengthening our position on the technical side. So that team here, along with all of the others that are in the team already, I think is going to bring us to new heights. Partners are essential to any team, and to Alpine in particular. BWT is bringing a lot to us. First, a wealth of experience in Formula One. BWT and Andreas have been in Formula One for long. They know the area very well. So it's always good to have partners you can rely on in many aspects, the sporting, the technical, financial, political. We have to remember that it's not just a race at the end of the day. They will also bring us a lot of expertise in CSR, being at the forefront, and Andreas being one of the most prominent leaders in this area. They're also going to bring expertise in other areas that are of importance for the Renault Group, such as hydrogen. So it's really like a critical partner that's going to bring us way more than just a name. And then Binance is obviously making Alpine enter into a new era, because we're not sticking to traditional partners. We are entering new worlds. new business ideas, new economy, and Binance is going to show us the way. So it's important to rely on partners like that to tackle the challenges of the future, which are going to be the challenges of Formula One as well. I want the drivers to continue doing what they were doing last year. It's not just driving fast. They've been real leaders in the organization. They've been pushing every single member of the organization much higher. It's not just their race engineers or their performance cell, the bubble around them. It's everyone in the team. They go, they ask questions, they want to solve any problem, no stone unturned. And I really like this attitude because it's mainly thanks to them and their collaboration in between the two of them that the team managed to score so many points and get that fifth position in the championship. Oscar is clearly the future of Formula One and of Alpine, I hope. He's a great talent. He's been breaking records after records. He's an amazing pedigree. Being so young is a great testament of his talent. He's going to learn a lot with us. He's going to bring us as well his unique expertise because he's a great driver. He knows driving lines better than anyone else. So he will probably be able to bring his contribution to even the senior pilots, drivers such as Fernando and Esteban. So really looking forward to building the future with Oscar.
Hi, I'm Matt Harman and I'm Technical Director of Alpine F1 Team. As Technical Director of the Alpine F1 Team, I have technical responsibility for all car programs relating to chassis, power unit, the integration thereof, and ensuring that we achieve optimal lap time at all times and delivery of that to the circuit. The interpretation of the regulations has been a big part of our work, clearly, and we've worked quite tirelessly on ensuring that we have a base of our car which allows us to extract the maximum lap time from those regulations. We've worked extensively on volumetric optimization and new technology in our race car to ensure that we can give our aerodynamic departments, our vehicle performance departments, our power unit departments the opportunity to achieve those lap times. But not local optimums, but broad overall lap times for the race car. The main areas that we focused on are quite broad. There are some highlights that you will see from the many publications on the new regulations. We have the 18-inch tyres, which we've tested extensively with Pirelli to make sure that we understand those and how we integrate their performance into our race car. We have a very different aerodynamic concept. We have a ground effect car for these set of regulations, so we've been very focused on ensuring that we achieve maximum volumetric capacity for the aerodynamicists to achieve the performance that we need in certain areas of the car. We will notice that we have a very different front wing concept of this car. We don't have pylon areas in there, and that gives us some crash implications that we needed to ensure we could achieve. We also have some very, very different safety regulations on this car. The chassis is a lot stronger than the previous chassis, but we also have achieved that within a very strict mass framework. So that's been a very big piece of work for the team. Actually, at the very beginning of these regulations, we actually started with the power unit, mainly because it does set some of the key areas of the car aerodynamically. We did a full review of this area of the car, and we decided to change the architecture of that power unit extensively in all areas, including the internal combustion engine, the ERS system, the turbo and its positioning in the car. And that has given us some real gains in terms of our ability to express ourselves aerodynamically and achieve that ultimate lap time of the car. In terms of validation of all of our equipment for the A522, we've done quite extensive work both on the power unit, on the wider powertrain, in terms of the transmission, the hydraulics, but also the wider car. We've tested the whole car on our dyno. It's important that we run mileages that are well in excess of what we will see at the circuit to make sure that we have those safety factors and we can cover the full envelope. Let's not forget that this car will operate in a very different manner at the circuits to the previous ones, and therefore we must ensure we've covered off that envelope. The regulations are slightly more restrictive than what we've had in the past. But I think it's fair to say that we're a very creative bunch, and we can already see that there are lots of areas to express ourselves within these regulations and use different areas of the car for different purposes than maybe we have done before. There are some areas of the car that are very, very different in terms of, for example, their aerodynamic content. But then we're finding other ways of dealing with those problems in other areas, and I think that's going to express, we're going to see a very, very different set of cars. Even though, broadly speaking, they are similar, in the detail, they are very, very different. In terms of the Viry and Enstone integration, I think we start off with saying that we are a works team and we need to make 100% use of that benefit, and we have done. So from the very start of our programme, we worked closely together to actually start off with the people, start off how we integrate the people first, how we integrate the functions, and then from that comes very, very good engineering conversations, and from that becomes excellent engineering solutions. So it's been primarily focused on the organisations and making sure that although we are separate in terms of geography, in terms of our engineering discussions, we are together, and we are together on every decision. And I think that's an important part of being a works team in modern Formula One. We started working on this car actually back in 2019. At that point in time, it was destined for 2021. The world had a big change at that point, and the regulations were moved back 1 year. But in essence, we have been developing this car since 2019. We started exclusively on the backbone of the car, making sure, as I've mentioned earlier, of the power unit and the powertrain systems, and also the technology that support those powertrain systems. And then in 2021, by regulation, we were allowed to start our aerodynamic concepts in earnest. We were allowed to operate our wind tunnel and start developing traditionally within the wind tunnel. And that's where we really did start to ramp up the programme and finding the essential lap time we need to compete for this year. Within the 2022 regulations, we now have our cost cap. It's something that we have to work within and something that we are embracing fully. And we are working quite carefully through that, and we have been for the last 2 years now, to make sure that we have the people, the processes and the capabilities within our organisation to become a front-running Formula One team. That does start with the people first. It's making sure that we're operating efficiently together, making sure that we are taking good engineering decisions and getting things more often than not right first time. Because it is important that, in essence, our efficiency is incredibly high, because out of that will come great performance. The planning and communication between teams has been massively key, not only because of the A522 regulations, but because of the way we've had to operate over the last 2 years with the COVID environment. The Alpine F1 team has dealt with that incredibly well. I'm very proud of every single team member in the way that we've approached that and the way that we've embraced that way of working. And actually there are some real benefits in working that way. It's very, very good to be in a room together and to be talking about concepts, but it's also highly efficient when concepts are decided to have that time to be able to deliver those solutions in a way that allows you to focus and produce that quality of work that we need to be a front-running team. The RE22 is a power unit that we've reviewed back to front. We have looked at every aspect of it in terms of its integration into the chassis, its base performance, and the combination of the two. We've looked at the system and its attributes. We've looked at the ICE. We've looked extensively on the structures that support the ICE, and we've also looked at some of the electrical machines in terms of the MGK and also the E-Turbo, making some quite big changes in that area to complement the A522 architecture, and again to allow us to extract maximum performance from both the power unit, the chassis, and the combined product of the two. In terms of the RE22 and the design for its entire life, it's been an interesting programme because essentially with the power unit and also the integrated powertrain that supports it, we've had to look at what the performance of that power unit and how that will work for the car over the next X number of years. And that's given us some engineering challenges because we don't fundamentally know everything about how we're going to operate it. So we've had to make some simulations and we've taken some conclusions from that to enable us not only to design the power unit, but also design the transmission that is linked to it and how that transmission will need to change based on the aerodynamic developments that will continue moving through, even though the power unit may be homologated and frozen at the 2022 stage.